Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Artist's Well. As you know, we've introduced a new thing where we do a few notices before we make a start with our guest this morning, and that is to mention a few of the exhibitions that are happening with artists who have previously featured on The Artist's Well, and only those who have previously featured. And not only that, I should add, only those who tell me about it, because I'm not going to be scouring around the country to see who's doing what. So anyway, so there are three ones that I want to mention, one of which I actually have a visual to show you, and it is the sculptor Catherine Green. And I was able to get to her exhibition, the opening of her exhibition, on Thursday of last week. And it's in an amazing venue, the Irish Architectural Archive, which is in 45 Merrion Square East, which happens to be very near the United Arts Club, where I was doing life drawing with Brian Gallagher. So I was able to pop down, have a look at this, and meet everybody. I met quite a few artists, which was lovely. And it's called Conspiracy, a Gathering of Ravens. Apparently, you know, a flock of ravens is called a conspiracy of ravens, which is pretty macabre when you think about it. But wonderful, wonderful work in a beautiful venue. It's on between the 6th and the 27th of May, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you're around the area, that's definitely worth a visit. The second one I want to mention is a chap who was on a while ago, and he specializes, if you remember, in nocturnal streetscapes and interiors. And that is Francis Matthews. And Francis is opening his solo exhibition at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the Molesworth Gallery in Molesworth Street. So again, if you're around that area, drop in, or indeed for the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to see his fabulous work. And finally, well, not quite finally, but nearly finally, you remember from our episode last week where we went to France for that residency. Their exhibition is opening this evening at 4 o'clock in the Chateau du Dompierre, I think it's called. And that's at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And it has Gary, Eamon and Kath, Eamon Coleman, Gary Richardson, and Kath are showing their work at that. And apparently there was a wonderful party last night, 40 Irish people at it. So it's nice to see that sort of thing happening abroad. The final, the final thing I wanted to mention is that my charcoal portrait workshop, the final one for a while, I'd say, because of what I'm doing during the summer, is happening on the 28th and 29th of May. That's a Saturday and Sunday. And it's a weekend workshop where you learn how to draw a portrait, a realistic portrait in charcoal. And there are various new techniques that I've learned that I'll be showing to people. And it includes all materials. It's for beginners and advanced. Anyone can do this because it's very structured. And it includes, as I say, all materials, and also a lovely lunch on both days, a Saturday, Sunday, in the beautiful Georgian dining room of the United Arts Club in Fitzwilliam Street. Already it's half full, and it's half full of people who were at the previous workshop. They enjoyed it so much. So, you know, hopefully some of you will come along to that as well. So send me an email or something. Okay, so today we're off to the lovely city of Galway to meet our artist. And our artist is Tatiana Dobos. I hope I've pronounced that correctly, have I?
That's correct.
Are you sure? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's all right. So listen, you're very welcome, Tatiana. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well.
Good.
It's a lovely, lovely morning.
Yes, and it's a lovely morning here in Dublin, which is great.
Fantastic.
Nice start to the weekend. So Tatiana, obviously from your name, you're not a native of Kerry. So where exactly were you born?
I'm from Moldova, from a little village called Bujor. I was born there and stayed till 15 years old.
Yeah. And did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, 2 brothers, 1 sister.
Yeah, very good. And you went to...
No one in Moldova at the moment. My sister is in Galway. One of my brothers is in, and another brother is studying in Romania. So only my parents are still in Bujor in Moldova.
And that's a very rural area, I gather, is it?
It is. It used to be a kind of small town during USSR, but now most of the people left. So only a few families left there in the village, which is quite sad. The village looks very different now.
Does it? And that's influenced some of your work, as we'll see later on. And tell me, because you're very near the Ukraine border.
Yes.
Are you concerned about what's going on?
Yes, we're worried all the time. When the war started, my parents just called me, telling that they can hear the bombing, and they didn't know what exactly is happening. And then I think now we kind of got used to it. It's happening there. Now they started to bomb in Transnistria, which is kind of more worrying because we don't know where it will go, where this conflict will go. So no one knows. But my parents will visit in next week. They are coming here, and we feel a bit more calm at the moment.
Sure, yeah, I know. But they seem to be, they don't want to leave. And I know you've been encouraging them, but
yeah, we've been encouraging them, but at the beginning they were kind of, yes, let's leave, we can stay with you for a few months or so. But something happened, and I think that's the Ukrainian attitude, gave everyone courage that they want to fight, now they want to help, they don't want to leave their country, they are visiting just to see us. We visited last year.
Yes.
So kind of a year since we saw each other. So they are just visiting for a short time, but they don't want to leave the country.
No.
They said if the Russian comes, we'll just fight, we'll do whatever we can. If we can't fight, we can cook for the army or wherever. No one wants to leave. I know people I know, they don't want to leave. They actually want to come back. I met some Ukrainians in Galway, and they can't wait to just go back and rebuild the country. Yes. Amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that. There is many coming back now as we're leaving.
Yes. Yeah. Young people that they had a life in Europe, but now no one wants to stay anymore here. They want to go back and just rebuild their country.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
So
going back to your youth, or not so much your youth, but once you left school, what did you do? Because you didn't go straight into art, did you?
Oh no,
you studied a very strange thing called.
Yes, it was a very tangled way.
Cybernetics.
Cybernetics. When I was 15, I left my country and I went to Romania to do the secondary school. So that was for 4 years. And then it was a period when I kind of formed myself. I found about myself so many things, kind of what I like, and I was kind of very inclined to arts, but I was studying informatics and numbers and IT. My parents wanted me to have a profession that would bring me stability.
Yeah.
So they encouraged me to do something in maths with numbers. I was really good at maths. So I went back to Moldova in 2001, and I did the college, and I had a degree. I took a degree in cybernetics, which is something between economics and IT, something in between. I tried to work as an accountant for 3 years.
Yes.
That was enough for me. It was hard. It's I guess it's not for everybody. And certainly it's not for me. Live in an office. It's
And you were in a large company working there, weren't you, for a while?
Company in Moldova.
Yeah.
It was very busy. We worked long hours. It was well paid. So that wasn't a problem. But I understood that I didn't have time to spend those money, and I didn't have energy after so much work. You just don't have energy, and you don't want to do anything than sleep. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
it.
So when did you discover it wasn't for you, and what did you do about it?
It didn't feel comfortable at all. So I went to Romania after 3 years of working in this company. I went to Romania for another job, which I think I worked for maybe 5 months. And during that time, I found an art studio in Romania, which I started to it was a weekly thing for me. And there I discovered clay. It was
But you also discovered a mentor.
I did. It was just a chance. Now when I'm thinking back, it is how this happened. I met this artist. I visited. I went to an exhibition, an art symposium, and it was the final exhibition. And I saw her works. It was my teacher, but I didn't know by that time. I was amazed. And I left. I didn't met her. I just saw her works, and then it was a chance. I met her on the street, and I said hello, and I said I really like your work, and she just invited me to her studio. You can come and work with me if you would like.
Yeah.
And this is how I left. I quit everything, my work, my knowledge about numbers, about
yes
economics, and I just started to do clay. It just felt so right to do so. So I spent with my teacher. Her name is Ionela Mihulak, a wonderful teacher in Romania. She's not only my teacher, she's my mentor, she's my mom.
Yeah.
She's very close to me. So I started to learn with her this very old technique of building ceramics. She is making replics of Cucutanean Tripilian culture. It's a very old ceramic culture discovered in Romania, Moldova, and Ukraine. And it's 7,000 years old.
Yes.
Very old. So I've learned with her the hand building techniques. But I couldn't follow the rules. I always added something to it. So I think she saw that in me, and she encouraged me to develop my style.
Yeah.
And that was the moment I left Romania and came to Ireland.
So what possessed you to choose Ireland? Never mind Galway. We can understand why you chose Galway. But
my brother lived here.
Okay.
And believe me or not, everyone, you'll meet people on the street, not Galwegians, and you ask them, how did you came here? I just visited. I visited, or I just came, I don't know, for a wedding, and I never left.
You never left. Yeah. Okay. Listen, before we get into any more detail, you have a friend over there in Galway called Alison, and she runs a media business called AMW Visuals. And she did a wonderful film of you, a short film. And I know that you work with very few tools, so looking around your studio really isn't going to show people much more than there's a window and a door and whatever else, and your hands, exactly. Very few instruments. So I think to give people a flavor of your practice, I'm going to show this film, and it's 7 minutes long, okay? But I really do think people will enjoy it. So sit back and relax and enjoy this.
About 10 years ago, I went to an art studio, and that was the time I touched first time the clay. I like it very much, like playing with
earth. And I like the idea that making something beautiful from mud, because I see clay as mud, like earth and water. I just loved that first touch, and then everything came as a natural flow. Inspiration comes from nature most of the time, rarely from people, but this happens too. I kind of found a connection between the shapes I make and my sentiments. When something is negative in me, anger or anxiety, I truly believe that negativeness translated to very sharp shapes and forms and even in colors. I really love stones and tree bark, different shapes and colors, textures. I'm looking to make something that if left in a natural environment, it will be in totally harmony with the nature. I've tried with those shapes, with these shapes, to put them on the stones, and they look like they are born or part of the stone. I even found the same colors on the stone and on the shape, and that was, I could leave them there and they'll be like, maybe nobody will notice that it's just ceramic. Sometimes I'm looking to find an idea, but it happens that idea is found in me. If I have an idea and I don't materialize it, it's just there. I'm not peaceful till I'll make it and see it. And then it's gone and I feel again the peace. Sometimes in the same work I can use 3 types of clay because I'm trying to get the color firstly from the clay I'm using. Some of them are fired like 3 times to get the color I need. I'm applying different layers of different glazes. I'm combining glass and ceramic glazes and underglazes just to get the color I'm looking for. I'm finding the shape and I'm multiplying the shape. At the first look you see like they are kind of the same, but they are not. They're all hand built. I'm using the oldest technique of hand building, so you'll not find any 2 small elements the same. When I'm making this, multiplying the shapes, I'm trying to understand why is this happening, why I am this way, where it's coming from. And I discovered so many things for myself. I discovered that many things are coming from my childhood, from my youth, from traumas I have in my youth. And they're just translating in what I'm making now. It's like going to a therapist. But the therapist is me. I'm at the same time patient and therapist, meeting in the studio. The artist's role, I think, is to keep awaken sensitivity in people. I think the sensitivity and capacity to feel makes us real. We're trying to avoid negative feelings. We're trying not to feel if it hurts. But actually, if we look more deeply at a negative feeling, we can dissolve it. or transform. Not necessarily in something positive, but maybe neutral, and that would be good. So my works are changing all the time because I'm changing. They're changing too. So maybe in a few years, my works will look totally different. Look at this. This style, this one, it was maybe 5 years ago. And what I'm making now is totally different. I have color. I have color in my works. And that's because Mia. Because the child I have, she sees the colors. She's showing me the colors. She's, I think, 1 year old. And she was talking all the time about yellow. Everything yellow. Yellow clouds, yellow food, everything yellow. And I'm starting using yellow in my works. Last year I had yellow, red. This year I'm going more to minimalism, more to white and black and beige. Next year maybe will be green.
And thanks to Alison of AMW Visuals over in Galway for doing that and allowing us use it. It was tremendous. You mentioned there about the therapist and all that, and I know when you had your daughter Mia, you went through the blues effectively for quite a while. Can you talk a little bit about that and just tell us how it sort of influenced your work, or indeed how the work saved you?
Exactly. I think this is the right word.
Yeah.
It saved me. The clay saved me. After my daughter Mia was born, I had postnatal depression for 2 years. I didn't know at that time. I thought I was perfect. Only people around me had a problem with me. I think this is how it works. Maybe, I don't know. So she was really tiny. She needed me all the time. But the more she grew, the more I had this little time in the evening. So I started to make little things. I couldn't allow myself to make big objects or large pieces. So I started to make small things. The more she grew, the more time I got. So I started to spend more time with myself, making these little small elements, pieces. I didn't have any plan with them to sell, to make works. I just enjoyed that time with me. It was a very deep connection, and I kind of had this right space to be with myself and to understand why I was angry earlier, or why did I say something, why did I scream, or why I'm so sad. So little by little, it worked really as a therapy. I got more space for myself. And it was so funny. The other day we talked about she's 8 years old now, and my work looks so different, and it kind of changes as she grows. I'm growing with my works, and it's beautiful to see that. So I can truly say that clay saved me.
Yes.
And I think it's so important to allow ourselves to spend some quiet time with ourselves. It's just
So I mean, the act of molding shapes and the work that you do is obviously very, very therapeutic. You know, that you can't think of anything else. You go into a different zone.
it really depends on the shape you're making. So I have some pieces, like I have the bowls and the spoons, like my hands know so well to the movement, so I don't have to think about the movement. So then I have this space in my head to dream.
Yes.
So it's a free zone. There are some more complex shapes that I'm only inventing, because I'm always looking for something new, some new elements to invent, and then I have to be totally present so to know what I'm doing. It's dual. With the pieces, my body knows how to move around them. So then I can have the space to dream and to think about future, maybe.
Yes.
You know. And then the new pieces are making me to feel just present in that moment.
Yeah. Well, I like the way you say that all your work is an expression of your emotion.
It is
what you're feeling at the time.
It's true. I never can plan my day or structure it, or to make, okay, on Monday I will make 10 pieces, or I'll make this kind of piece. So I'm always leaving space and time to when I'm arriving in the studio, I just take a bit of time to understand, all right, am I ready to do what today? Maybe some days I can create lovely pieces, and some days I can just paint my frames or something. I'm not pushing to structure, but I think I found that it kind of kills the creativity.
Yep.
It's leaving it free. And that's very.
That said, you must be a very disciplined individual, because I know that you do a lot of commission work. And before I forget it, I want to mention one commission that you're not allowed to talk about. And this is a commission you got in a very circuitous route through a gallery in California, if I'm allowed to say that, for a very large company. But you can't say who it is, you can't say where it is, and you can't say what it is, but it was very big work. Can you add to that, or will we leave it at that?
I think we'll leave it, because I don't know like how much should I talk or not. So I was really surprised to be contacted by Slate Art in California.
Yeah.
And they asking me if I would like to make an artwork for this tech company, which everyone knows, but we won't say the name. No, we won't. So I said yes. So it was a long process. I really enjoyed making that piece. I can't see it, so it's.
Can you even see it?
No, they said they will send me pictures, images.
Yes.
I hope it will come a day when we can say it and show to the world. But I'm doing all the time, all different projects and commissions. So I enjoy every single piece. It doesn't matter the size. I can do one little piece or 2 meters one. So for me, it's just the same. There is no, this is a special client, so I feel more. Because I think we all create not for other people, but first of all, for ourselves. Yes. I just can't imagine my life not doing this. It's our need, first of all, for all creatives, for all the artists. It's first, it comes the need of creating something to be immersed in this process. And then if we sell our works, it's even better. But I feel just the same for all the works. It's not.
Yes. I neglected to mention that, and you might have noticed it in the film. There's an exhibition being shown with these. How would you describe them, Tatiana? These sort of, they're like pots, aren't they? Loads and loads of different
pots upside down.
Yeah.
And then I make the hole from the inside. It's like, to me, I call them like you open something. It's opening. And it was really a time when I started to make them, it was a time I was discovering myself. Things I didn't know or I avoided to know. So it was so good timing to make them, or maybe they did. They came from inside. So I call them opening. They like pinch pots upside down.
Yes.
Opening from the inside.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure people will recognize it from that. And there were several of them. And the reason I got in contact with you was because, and some of you will know this already because of my email, I was teaching a group of women a course, right? So we were literally, they were all friends and friends of mine now. And we went from house to house, right? And I was in this particular house one day and I saw your work on the wall and I was just bowled over by it. And I went over and I said, who the hell did that? And I don't think she actually knew the name at the time, so she said, oh, I'll find out and I'll do that. And I said, I'd like you to contact whoever did that because I'd love to talk to them. I was just amazed by it, the detail, the scale. It was just beautiful, beautiful work. So anyway, that's how we got in touch. So Tatiana, what we're going to do now is look at some of your work and chat through it. And again, I think that's going to help people because I know a lot of your work you put into nature. And it has a story. You take photographs of your work in nature where it was intended in a particular setting. And then you give that photograph to the people who buy your work, if they're buying a small element of it, which I find very interesting also. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is not a work, but it's something else. Tell us a little bit about that.
I would call it a work. This is a group. Last year, I took part in this International Art Symposium in Romania, in Cucuteni. It's a place, it's a house built by my teacher. It's a house made of clay and straw. So in this place, people are coming together she invites every summer artists all over the world to make their works and work with the community. Here in this picture is me with children from Cucuteni village, where the art site is located in Cucuteni in Romania. Why I call it work? Because I'm trying every year to do at least one big project, especially with kids in Galway, to do workshops in clay. This is my way to connect with the community and understand really how it works. So this year I worked with St. Joseph's Special School, and it was so special for me to get closer to a smaller community that we don't interact too much. So this image just shows my love sharing what I know with younger generations. So this work was made with the kids from the village. We made it together. They made the pieces. I just told them how to do them. And we made this big piece on the wall. In this image, it's my work with my teacher's work. So it's the first time our works meet together. She makes, as I said, the replicas from Cucuteni Tripilian culture. And on the work.
This was discovered not so long ago, wasn't it? This culture where they literally found a load of ceramics.
No, so the village we did this art symposium. My teacher was born there, and there is an archaeology site, and we discovered the culture, the ceramic culture in there. It was in, I think, early 70s.
Yes. And it was completely unknown before that, wasn't it?
No one knew about it.
No.
It's a huge thing, like their knowledge how to make the pots. I think it's just amazing. And you still can find, if you walk around the village, you can find pieces of their pots, 7,000 years old artifacts. It's amazing, and you can touch them. You just find them in the hills.
Amazing.
It's amazing, yes.
And this is the outside of that house, your teacher's house.
This is the outside house. So she made this by her hands, she painted it, and in front of the house is the work I made during the art symposium in Romania last summer.
And we'll see a close-up of that. Oh, here it is. Yeah, there's a close-up.
In the gallery, yes.
This is more what I meant about the landscape and putting your work back into the landscape.
All the images you'll see are taken in near Galway. It will be in Beach or in Barna. What I like, when I have all the elements ready, I will take them somewhere in the woods, in the natural environment. So I feel this connection. So the artwork is not only an object, it's something more. It has some natural element, because there always will be some sand left on those boats.
Yes.
Or it will absorb a bit of salty water. And so I'm taking this photograph, and especially if it's a commission, when I send the commission to the customer, I send also the images with the elements photographed. And it's a lovely time to spend outside, with your little toys. You make your toys, and then you go outside and play with them for a few hours.
Yes.
And have a swim. Most of the images are taken on the shore, so I can have a swim after I finish the job.
Well, very good. Now, this one, we saw you making one of these spoons.
Yes.
But they're symbolic, aren't they?
They are. When I started to make these works, Irish people especially, they have these memories about the wooden spoon. But it's not about that. It's the wooden spoon, in their childhood, when their moms use them not only to cook, but for other reasons. So when I started to make these spoons, I was thinking it's an object we use every day and brings so many people, brings us together. I call this work Hunger to Belong. I think this is one of our needs to belong to our family, to a community, to group. The need of belonging is essential for humans, and usually around the food, around the table, we make this very strong connection. When we share food, when we cook for others, where others cook for us, there is an exchange that makes the connection between us stronger.
Yes.
So this is how the work with the spoons was born. This is on Fanor Beach. I really like the contrast. This is what I chose this place. The contrast between the very fine porcelain and then the roughness on the background. It's just wonderful.
I love these.
Yes, for me they're hugs. Oh, people see them only foods. I've heard so many options like butter and chocolate and ice cream, everything, crisps even. But for me, they're hugs. They're like someone who hugs you.
And did this come out of the COVID lack of?
Yes.
Yeah.
So during the COVID, I started to make all these kind of elements that will remind me about being embraced or a hug. I really missed, we were so isolated. So I really missed meeting friends and hugging them and being closer and being together. So I made lots of works with hugs.
Yeah, and we'll see some more of them elsewhere.
That image was in Connemara on Diamond Hill. I went with my daughter, so I took some images.
Okay, yeah.
This is in Barnowoods, is near our house, and it was in the area of 5 kilometers. So I could go there, and I found this wonderful tree. Also, when I make my works, I'm trying to find the perfect space where I feel the ceramic element will feel comfortable in nature. So I see these little porcelain pieces only like perfect in this, surrounded by flowers, pink flowers.
Now this is interesting because I think you've taken a bit of inspiration from back home.
I did. I visited my parents one winter, and I had these long walks around the village. So because so many people left their doors and windows of the houses, when you leave a painted object outside, and you don't repaint it, it kind of, the paint cracks all around the village. I could see gates and fences and doors with this cracked paint, all different colors, and you could see underneath the first layer of paint, you can see the other layers, of different colors. So to me, this texture, especially, it reminds me of, a place somewhere, a memory, probably more as a memory. I call this or reminisce. I do remember my village looking very different when I was young, and now.
Shame, isn't it?
It's so different.
Now, this is an interesting story.
This is
I think it refers to the Curragh, am I right?
The Curragh. I can see these boats all around Galway, upside down. I just love the shape. It's so beautiful. And I was talking with one of my friends about this feeling of waiting for something, like always waiting. And then we read this article in the newspaper about the fishermen's wives who in Galway who were waiting for their husbands to come from the sea, and it was a kind of heavy waiting, because sometimes they could come with fish, someone empty hands, and sometimes they didn't come back at all. And so they're waiting all the time for their husbands, for their sons. And it was a sad story. And we wanted kind of to create something totally opposite, a Curragh that will bring joy all the time. So there won't be only waiting for like a sad waiting, but it'll be a joy. It will come from the sea.
Yes.
This is a story about Curragh.
Beautiful.
This work is about fragility. I was a quite sensitive child, and I couldn't express too much when I was young. So I'm kind of, to these very delicate pieces, I'm expressing my fragility and my sensitivity to everything that's going around me. And I think this is a way of dealing with my sensitivity.
Yes.
Making this elegant and
beautiful. And these pieces, are they extremely thin?
They're not very thin,
Oh.
but it's porcelain, and it's, porcelain looks so delicate, but it's such a strong material. They look delicate, but
they're not as delicate as they look. And tell me, do you fire your own porcelain?
Excuse me?
Do you fire your own work?
Yes. I do have a kiln in the house.
Yeah.
And so I fire all my works. And actually, I'm doing everything by myself. I don't have a helper. I would love to have an assistant because I need some help, but no, everything I'm doing by myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now, I love this because of the plinth.
I do love the contrast.
Yes.
The porcelain is so delicate, and the color is just, and then the concrete brick is just so rough. I'm always looking for a contrast.
Yeah.
A duality in we have, everyone is having this duality in us. We're sensitive, but sometimes we're stronger. So I think I'm following in my works to show this duality. It's a very dear work for me. The elements, I used strings. There is a shop in Galway that sells musical instruments. So musicians from Galway, and maybe not only from Galway, are going to these shops to change their strings, but they're broken. So I have a huge box in the studio. From time to time, I'm doing sculptures with these strings.
So they bring their used strings back to the shop.
Yes.
Yeah. And is this back into the hug theme as well?
Yes. It's you know, if you walk the shop street in Galway, you always hear someone playing music. And it's so lovely. You feel home. Like, I know I'm in Galway. If I hear this music, and you know the spots they usually play, and for me, it's kind of embracing this feeling at home, and it's an honor for me that I can use the strings that made music one time.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And yes, and it's another work with the same kind of elements.
Is that actually behind you as well, is it?
No, I
What's the
made
difference?
that work a few years ago.
Yeah.
The work behind me, it's a new work.
Okay.
I had commission, so I had some extra elements, so I made another one. I really love this shape. It's so, I really feel hugged when I make these shapes.
Yes. And there's a feeling of breaking out from the circle there as well, isn't there?
Yes, it's a combination between opening to the world, because you see, I think we're quite isolated artists working in our studios for long hours, long days. And then from time to time, you need to go out and just open to the world and share what we're making with the world.
Now that's similar to the one you did with the children.
Yes, I just wanted to create one myself, because the pieces from the other work were made by the children. I just showed them how to do it, but one I made myself.
For yourself, yeah.
For myself. It's sold now, but I'm really hoping to make another one, and perhaps to keep in my house.
Yeah. Right, and I think this is the final piece we're showing.
Yes. I call this Windows in Time. I have a very personal story with a window in this world, and this idea of windows keep coming to me, and I think for the next years I will make more and more windows.
All right, Tatiana, that's super. Thank you very much for that. I'm saying you're busy, but you also have a market. Do you attend a market every week in? No,
we don't.
Oh, that was just a one-off, was it?
So every summer during the art festival in Galway,
yes,
I think it's happening for 12 years now. It's almost a Galway tradition to do this potter's market. So ceramic artists and potters are coming from all over Ireland to Galway to show and sell their works. So we're doing this during the art festival, and this year we thought let's do one in May to see how it works. And we just last weekend we had this market, and it was wonderful. It's just wonderful to meet people and to connect.
The fact that you sold out everything was a bonus.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll read a couple of, before we open it up to the floor and let people ask questions in person. I'll read out a few comments because they don't appear on the YouTube. So even though you can see them. So Gillian Keane says, stunning. And I think that was referring to the Alison's wonderful film. Yvonne says, interesting that you place your work within a frame, a wall hanging, such original works. Carol says, words fail me about you and your wonderful creations. Love the background story about the work. Catherine Gagans, Tatiana, your work is stunning. How do you secure the ceramic elements to the support? Good question.
Yes.
Practical, as ever, Catherine.
It was a long process to try to understand how can I make it like secure, is gluing them with a very powerful glue called Tech 7. Now I'm doing another research at the moment. I would love to secure the elements directly to the wall, because many people asking me if I can do the works on the wall.
Yeah, without a frame.
Without the frame.
Yeah.
With the very strong glue I'm using at the moment, it doesn't work for the wall. So now I'm doing another research. So hopefully,
all right. Yeah.
One day I'll find that out.
Yeah. Okay. But Tech 7, I've never heard of that. Is that something you get in Woodies or a specialist shop?
These DIY shops.
Really?
And usually people use it for bathroom, so it's a very strong one. And what is great about this glue, it has this elasticity. So when it hardens, it has this elasticity. Even if you touch the element, it won't break. It stays there.
Yes. All right. Robert Kelly says, beautiful interview and video giving us an in-depth insight into Tatiana's work and practice. And Robert had to leave early, so thank you. Thanks for that. Ina Lavelle says, wonderful work, Tatiana, very moving, just stunning. Maliki says to everyone, meditations in clay, truly wonderful. It is a sort of meditation, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I would say it too.
Yvonne says, you remind me of Frida Kahlo with the beautiful framing halo around your beautiful work. Oh, sorry, your work behind you. Right. I don't know Frida. Maybe you do.
Oh, I know who Frida Kahlo was, of course.
Yes.
Painter. Yes, I do know. I was thinking maybe my hair looks a bit like Frida Kahlo. Sometimes she was wearing this kind of style.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to me, she was a very strong woman. Very inspiring.
Marianne, beautiful works, Tatiana. Thanks for sharing. Okay, I'm going to open it up to everybody. And if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment in person, please do.
That was incredible. It was worth the race back from Lidl this morning. And I'm so sorry if I was rude going backwards and forwards, Tatiana. I wasn't meaning to be disrespectful, but my little grandson came up from Galway last night with me and I promised him a banana pancake early this morning.
Yellow food.
Yeah, I have to. But I'm in awe of your work. I just think it's incredible.
Beautiful.
And it's just stunning. And it's an area that I work around Fenor and the Flaggy Shore around myself. And I have been doing work with stones on canvas, but like that, I can't get them to stick. So it's interesting that you have found a glue that works.
But the stones are so heavy,
Well, they're little tiny ones, and along the Flaggy Shore, they're little tiny little ones. You wouldn't even...
I would really recommend concrete, and not on canvas, but on
wood.
Hard board, I don't know, MDF or wood, something that will support the work. So
yeah,
I would recommend. I think I saw someone using concrete, so you just put the little stones in.
The other thing I was going to say to you, I was in Galway last evening. Just before I left, I was out at Furbo Beach, and my daughter lives there, and there was a guy playing the bodhrán with his dog. And every night he does it. And it's just so beautiful. I mean, Galway, I'm delighted she's moved there because I have an excuse now to go over and mind the kids and stuff. So I'll be around and I'd love to visit you some stage.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I'll look you up. Anyway, I don't hold the space, let anybody else get in. And thank you so much, Tatiana, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Carol. Okay, anybody else like to make a comment or ask a question?
I want to ask, where do you get the clay and is it expensive?
Clay I get from Scarva from Northern Ireland. There are different types of clay. You can find the very cheap one. I think the cheapest one is terracotta, which is I think €8 a 12 kg bag. But if you want a more expensive clay, that's porcelain, and sometimes can be a €30 bag. But everything is from Ireland, all my clays.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Yeah, I mean, does everything have to be fired? You know, because I'm a complete no, I wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about. But, you know, are there things you can do without having to go to the effort of glazing and firing and all that sort of stuff?
You don't need to glaze everything, but you have to fire if it's a real clay. Now,
Okay.
there are different clays, air drying clay. I never use that one. I really believe in the fire.
Yeah. Yes.
Fire. So if the piece goes through the fire, like 1200 degrees, then I'm sure it will last. And this is another point. You have to be very careful what you're making, because if you make something you're not happy with, it will just be on earth for forever. So we have to be very careful what we're making.
How long does the process take, you know, when you're firing something at that temperature?
The firing itself can take 10 hours, but then you need enough 24 hours to let the kiln cool down.
Yes.
So yeah,
So it's a quite very long process.
2 days to firing.
Yeah. Okay. Eamon, I see you're unmuted. Do you want to make a comment or?
Yeah, no, I just love the work. I particularly like the photographs. They remind me of Anthony Gormley, who is a painter who makes things out of mud in the natural environment, photographs it, and the rain comes and washes the actual sculpture off the tree or off the. So they have that element to them. So I really enjoy that. And again, thank you for I love the film. The film is beautiful.
Wasn't it great?
The little film. Yeah.
Alison is a very good filmmaker. And
yeah. So congratulations. No, it's beautiful work. Thank you.
Thanks for that.
It was a well-spent morning listening to that.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yes, that was absolutely fabulous. I'm completely enthralled with both the idea of forming the individual units that go into the work, the artwork. Is it something that you allow to happen, that you just take a piece of porcelain and allow these shapes just to come and then afterwards make the design, if you like?
So there are two different parts of my process: making the elements and then finding the installation.
Yes.
So first of all, I'm not thinking of anything. I'm just sitting calmly and make the elements. I don't count them. I don't weight them. I just grab a piece of clay, porcelain, terracotta, or stoneware, whatever, and I'm shaping the elements. So that takes me some weeks to finish them. Then I fire. So when I have all the elements ready, I'm going to the beach, I'm taking some images, and then I have my frame and the elements next to it, and I leave it there and try different ways of arranging them.
Mm-hmm.
So I will play for hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. I will leave the frame, I'll come back till I will find the harmony between the elements. When they will feel happy together, then I know it's ready. So I leave it like that. So it's nothing like very structured. I would play a lot with them. And this is when I was 5 years old, I would gather things around the house, tiny bits, like wooden sticks or little pebbles or buttons or even animal bones, everything I could find. And I would sit as a child for hours. I would find something plain, flat, and I would stay there for hours trying to make them look nice together, like a congregation, like a meeting. So I could do that, like spend hours and just be happy, be there. So I'm doing just the same now. I'm making my elements and I'm just sitting for hours and enjoy playing.
It's just a beautiful way to work. It sounds completely ideal, and you know, you're in a lovely place doing it. I mean, in your head. and you're in a lovely place there too in Galway. But in your head, I always find that that's the place that just needs to be allowed and fascinating. Stunning work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Gui. Thank you. Okay, everybody, I think we leave it there. So Tatiana, thank you so much. I wish you every future success. Also, I hope that your parents will be okay and that they enjoy their time in Ireland and get back safely as well. So next week, we're going to do this all over again. And we've got another artist, second last artist of this particular series before we reach 80 episodes in total. And not only that, you have to add on the 12 weeks where I was teaching before this evolved or morphed into what it is now. So you can add that onto it as well. So it's quite a number of weeks we've been doing this, which is super. And I'm very grateful to all of you for watching and for supporting the Artist Well here. If you have already subscribed to the Artist Well, thank you so much. If you haven't, please do, because it sort of helps. We're at 801 subscribers at the moment, and it costs nothing. All you do is press a button, and it just reminds you of an episode if you've missed it. So if you've already done it yourself, no doubt there's somebody you know who hasn't. So you might ask them to do that, because I'm trying to reach the magical 1,000 where you can monetize the channel. So thanks again for showing up today. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And Tatiana, last word for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So much. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Not at all. Thanks a lot. Take care now. Bye.
Thank you, Bella.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.